You ever meet someone who's been through hell, but still makes you feel like home? This is a story about Gramma Lou. She ain't my blood, but she raised me like I was her own. And before I ever knew what love or struggle really meant, I learned it from the way she held her silence. She used to hum gospel in the kitchen, laugh with her whole body, but never talked about her past. Until one night, she did. They took away my womb, she said it was for my own good, but didn't ask me first. I ain't know what to say. I just sat there, frozen. And that night, I realized some of our strongest women been carrying scars this world never even cared to see. So if you think you know pain, sit down, turn the volume up, and listen. My name's Tasha, and I want to tell y'all about a woman who changed my whole life. I used to call her Gramma Lou, though we weren't related by blood. She was my next-door neighbor back in Southside Chicago, and when I say she helped raise me, I mean it like soul deep. I was just a loud little girl with ash on her knees, braids half done, and too much attitude for someone so small. But Gramma Lou, she never once turned me away. She'd sit on that creaky porch, rocking back and forth in her old wooden chair, sipping sweet tea with lemon, dressed in her worn house dress and slippers that had seen too many winters. She'd tap her knee and say, "Come sit, baby girl. Let me teach you something." What she taught me, though? It wasn't just how to shell peas or fold laundry. She taught me about dignity, about pain, about survival. One sticky summer night, I must have been 11, Gramma Lou told me something I ain't never forgot. She said, real quiet, "They took away my right to be a mama. Took it without asking, without warning. I ain't even know till it was too late." I blinked at her, confused. "What you mean they took it?" She looked off toward the corner store, eyes glassy. "I mean they cut me, baby girl. Back in 91. After I had your cousin Leon, they tied my tubes without asking. Doctor said it was necessary, but it wasn't. I was just another black woman they ain't think needed more babies. Y'all." My little brain couldn't wrap around it. Like, what? They did what? To her? Without her say-so? I asked. "You ain't sue nobody?" She laughed, but it was that hurt laugh. The kind you do when the pain sits in your chest like a brick. "Who was I gonna sue, baby girl? I ain't have no money, no lawyer, no power, just me and God. And back then, the system didn't care about no poor black woman." That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid in bed and thought about how a hospital, a place that's supposed to protect you, could just steal that from somebody and not even say sorry. It was the 90s, y'all, not the 1800s. We had Nintendo and cable TV. And still, women like Gramma Lou were treated like they ain't human. And this wasn't no isolated case. As I got older, I started digging, reading, listening. And the more I learned, the more I hurt. This wasn't just about Gramma Lou. It was about so many women, especially black, brown, and poor women, who were silenced, controlled, forgotten. Gramma Lou never had more kids after that. She raised us neighborhood babies like we were hers, but I could still see it in her eyes. Every birthday party, every new baby born, something was missing. Something was stolen. And the system never gave it back. Sometimes I sit on my own porch now. Same block, new generation. And I catch myself saying, "Come sit, baby girl." And I remember that creaky chair, that sweet tea, that woman who lost her womb but never lost her wisdom. I couldn't let it go, y'all. After Gramma Lou told me what happened to her, it was like something cracked open in my chest. I'd walk past Mercy Hospital and feel a cold shiver run down my spine. Like the building was whispering secrets it hoped nobody'd ever hear. I was 15 by then, And I started asking questions, real questions. I asked my Auntie D, who'd had 2 kids back to back, why she never had a third. She looked at me sideways and said, "Girl, some things ain't meant to be talked about." But her eyes told a whole different story. That same haunted look, that same silence. I asked my biology teacher if it was legal for doctors to sterilize women without permission. She said, "Well, not anymore." Like that made it okay. Y'all ever feel like you're walking around with a weight no one else can see? Like you carrying someone else's pain because they too tired to carry it no more? That's what it felt like. Gramma Lou never said she wanted justice. She just wanted someone to know. And I think she saw that in me. One night, around my junior year, I came home from track practice and found her on the porch again, bundled in her favorite quilt. It was getting cold out. The air smelled like wood smoke and wet concrete. She waved me over. "Baby girl," she said, "you ever want to have kids?" I shrugged. "I guess. Someday. Maybe when I got money and a house that don't leak." She nodded slow, real slow. Then she said, "Don't let nobody take that choice from you. Even when you tired. Even when you scared. That choice is sacred." That hit me like a punch in the gut. 'Cause it wasn't about babies. It was about power, about autonomy, about being seen as a whole damn person. Gramma Lou had dreams. She wanted a big family, loud, messy, full of love. She used to imagine grandkids dancing in her living room, drawing chalk on the sidewalks. But that future? It got taken with a scalpel and a signature she never gave. You know what's wild? The doctors called it medical necessity. Said she was high risk after her second baby. Said they did what was best. But best for who, huh? 'Cause it damn sure wasn't best for her. Now I'm 34. I work at a women's clinic, not as a nurse, but front desk, checking folks in, making them feel seen. And every time I see a young girl walk in, scared and unsure, I remember what Gramma Lou said. Don't let nobody take that choice from you. Sometimes I'll sit in my car after work, cry a little, 'cause I feel like I'm holding space for ghosts, women like her, like Auntie D, like the ones who never told nobody. But you know what I believe? We gotta say their names. We gotta tell their stories. 'Cause you can't heal what you don't name. And I'm done being quiet. I remember the first time I heard the word reproductive justice. It was on a beat-up flyer taped to a light post outside the community center. Purple letters, smudged from rain. Black Women's Healing Circle, Thursdays at 6. I don't know what made me go inside that night. Maybe it was the way my chest had felt tight for months. Maybe it was the way Gramma Lou's voice had started echoing in my head when I closed my eyes. Maybe it was guilt. Either way, I walked in, sat in the back, didn't say nothing the first 2 meetings, just listened. There was one woman, Miss Carla, probably late 40s, short hair, hoop earrings big as my fist. She talked about how the state took her baby in the 90s, said she was unfit 'cause she lived in a shelter and missed 1 prenatal appointment. Another girl, Keisha, said her mom got a 2-ball ligation when she was 22. Thought she was going in for fibroid surgery. Woke up with stitches and a nurse whispering, "You're lucky. Now you won't have to worry about birth control." I sat there like, damn. This wasn't just Gramma Lou's story. This was a whole damn pattern. You gotta understand something. The 90s weren't that long ago. I know we like to act like they were all neon windbreakers and R&B slow jams, but for Black women, especially poor Black women, the system was still treating our bodies like property, doctors making decisions without consent, judges writing laws like they knew what was best for our wombs, social workers playing God. And the wildest part? Nobody was talking about it, like it was just some collateral damage. I finally spoke up at that third meeting. My voice was shaky as hell. I said, "My Gramma Lou, she didn't get to choose." And nobody ever said sorry. Not once. That room went quiet. And then Miss Carla reached over, took my hand, and said, "You just gave her justice, baby. You just spoke her name out loud." That did something to me. I ain't never been the same since. Next thing I know, I'm passing out flyers, helping organize a town hall. We put together a story night, called it Our Wombs, Our Words. Gramma Lou came, sat in the front row, rocking her church hat and red lipstick like she was about to testify. When I read her story out loud, changed a few details to protect her privacy, she cried. Silent tears just streaming down her cheeks. Afterward, she hugged me and whispered, "Now the world knows, baby. Now I ain't invisible." And I realized, sometimes justice don't come in courtrooms. Sometimes it comes in truth, in community, and finally being seen. Y'all still with me? Because this ain't just about the past. This is about now. There's folks trying to roll us back to that same silence, same erasure, same control. So yeah, I'm loud now, and I ain't never going quiet again. You ever sit with the truth so heavy, it feels like it's sitting on your chest even when you're trying to sleep? That's what it felt like after that story night. Like my spirit was finally awake, but my body was still tired. Real tired. Gramma Lou stopped talking about what happened after that night, but I saw it in her eyes. The way she moved a little slower, the way she stared out the window longer. She was grieving a version of herself that never got to be. A mother of 4 instead of 2. A woman who got to choose. One Sunday after church, we were just sitting on the porch. She had her tea. I had my little notebook, just scribbling. She said, "You know, baby, sometimes I think God gave me you so the story wouldn't die with me." I didn't even know what to say. I just reached over, grabbed her hand. We sat there in silence, and the silence felt holy. I started doing little things after that. Not marches, not campaigns, just real small, real human stuff. I'd sit with the older ladies at the hair salon when they started talking about what they did to us. I'd help them write things down. I'd listen. I'd cry with them. Started keeping a little box in my room. Called it the womb box. Inside were little notes, stories, scraps of truth from women who'd been hurt and never told nobody. Sometimes I'd open it and read one out loud to myself, just so their words didn't sit in the dark no more. A few months later, Miss Carla from the circle said, "You got a gift, Tasha. You help people remember they ain't alone." And I remember thinking, maybe that's what healing looks like. Not always fixing things, but sitting in the rubble with somebody and saying, "Yeah, I see you. I'm here." I ain't perfect, y'all. Still got days where the rage sneaks up on me like a storm. Sometimes I wake up wanting to scream. Sometimes I look at my own body and wonder how deep the trauma runs. Not just in me, but in my blood, my bones, my DNA. But I also know this. Every time I speak Gramma Lou's name, every time I write down another woman's story, every time I sit in that circle and just listen, I'm changing the ending, bit by bit. So if you still here with me, if you still leaning in and listening, I want you to know, we all carry her name, even if we never met her, even if we ain't got the same history. If you ever felt silenced, dismissed, if your no was ignored, if your body was treated like it wasn't yours, then baby, you know her too. Gramma Lou passed on a Thursday. Sky was gray like it knew. I held her hand till the last breath left her chest, and in that moment, it felt like a whole library burned down. But you know what? I ain't feel empty. Nah, I felt full of her. Her stories, her fire, her silence. We buried her under the big oak tree behind the church. That same tree she used to sit under with her crochet and her lemonade. And when we laid her down, I remember looking around. There were kids there, teenagers who'd never met her, mamas with strollers, old men who never said much but always tipped their hats to her. And I thought, she mattered. Even if the world never said her name in the news, she mattered. So here's what I came to tell y'all. Don't just remember the heroes in books. Remember the women who raised you, the ones who had nothing but still gave you everything, the ones who lost parts of themselves but made sure you stayed whole. And listen, even if they weren't perfect, even if they didn't tell you everything, even if you found out too late, remember them. Not 'cause they were saints, but 'cause they were strong enough to survive what would have broken most. And here's the kicker, y'all. Some of those women, they not only raised our generation, they raised the next one too. Even the kids of the folks who looked down on them. Even the babies of the ones who said, that never happened. Or, y'all just making a fuss. They loved anyway. They cooked, cleaned, nursed, taught. They built a world they were never allowed to fully live in. And still, they showed up every damn day. So if you hear this and feel a lump in your throat, that's them speaking. That's their spirit reminding you. You are the legacy. You are the story. And maybe the best way to honor them is to stop the cycle, to speak truth, to protect the next ones, to heal forward. Let me leave you with this. The root don't forget, even when the branches grow wild. So don't forget them either. Tell their stories. Say their names. And when the world gets loud, you be the whisper that remembers.